This stars, they say in my part of the world, and welcome from me, Martin Smith, aka Cornish Grandad, to my YouTube channel. I trust you're well and interested in learning how to use the Blender Video Sequence Editor. Today's session is an introduction to the Video Sequence Editor. So we explore the interface and the timeline, import a clip into the timeline to play, and then moving and editing the strips before rendering out our final video. At the end, I'll be giving you my list of keyboard shortcuts to speed up your editing. When we first load up Blender, we are presented with this splash screen. This is the Blender 2.93 splash screen. We can open previous files we've had. We can open new ones using a browser, or we can create a new one. We're going to create a new video editing workspace. Alternatively, if you've got Blender already open, you can do File, New, Video Editing. Gets you to exactly the same place. At the top here we have a file browser. We can change how that looks quickly enough. I'm just going to jump to and open that one, and the one I'm going to grab is this one called Flying Saucer How To. Let's grab that and just drop it in there. And it's loaded up two strips. The top strip is the video file. The bottom strip is the sound file. If I click on that, I can display the sound form. I can use my middle mouse button, scroll in or out, and I've now got my screencast tools on so you can see which buttons I'm pressing. So I can scroll in or out using my middle mouse button. As you can see here, there's a change in the format, and this is showing me this is the range it's going to play from frame 1 to frame 250, frame 1 to frame 250. But if we scroll out a bit more, you can see our video strip is a lot longer than that. So we can go to the end of that. We could drag our playhead backwards and forwards. The quickest way of doing it is actually to do page up. It'll jump straight to the end. So the end of our clip is actually 1895. It needs to be 250. So we could type 1895 into there. We could copy that and paste it into there. Or we could go playback set end frame. So no, 1895 is now 1895. If I wanted to view just this area, if I hit the home key, then it will fill the whole screen. So let's start at the beginning. So we use our playback mode. We'll rewind that. We'll press play. And you'll see in the preview screen what's happening. Here we have a very simple model of a flying saucer which we're going to animate over 50 frames. So set on frame 1, we can insert keyframes on location and rotation. Set it to 25. We can give it a bit of a wobble on the X and a bit of wobble on the Y, and we can set Z to 2 full rotations. We can insert keyframes on that. Then we can take it up to frame 50. We can give it a slightly different wobble just to make it look as if it's flying. We'll give it another 2 full rotations, and we can insert keyframes on that. And then we can render that out. We have just played our video. The first thing we need to notice is that this first part here at the beginning is dead. We don't actually need that. So what we can do is we can move our strips and then delete that front section. Now remember, that's a video strip and that's a sound strip, and if you don't move them together, well, we're going to end up out of sequence. So the way to do it is left click on the first strip, shift and left click on the second one, and then we can move them as a pair just by holding down the left mouse button and dragging it. Alternative way of selecting them both is to do what they do, a box select. So you just drag your left mouse button over there, select them both. You see they both got the coloured boundaries on, so they're both selected. And we can drag those and we're going to drag them until the sound starts. We can move our playhead right to the beginning, which is there. And now we want to cut these with the knife tool, and the knife tool is K for knife tool. And that's produced a cut. And because I had my cursor on the right hand side, it's left these two selected, which is not a problem because I can clearly select those and then I can hit the delete key to delete them. I'm just going to undo those steps. So I've now no longer cut. If I have my cursor to this side when I use my knife tool to cut, then the two I want to get rid of are still highlighted, and then I can hit delete and they're gone. So that's good. We go to the end again. So that was page down, page up. I've got a dead section here, so I can do exactly the same. I can bring my playhead to about there. I can make sure those two are selected. My cursor on the right hand side, because that's what I want to delete, I can do my knife tool and delete. Now notice that the play is going to carry on into this dead section here. That's not what I want. So I'm going to do play, set end frame, and therefore that's just the play area now. And I can hit home to maximize it. Now there are actually two types of cut, and the only one we use so far is called a soft cut. I'm arbitrarily going to cut my strips here with a K, and I'm going to just move these out of the way for a second. Now you notice on the ends of my strips I've got handles. There's a handle there and there's a handle there. So what I'm going to do is I'll select that handle, shift and select that handle. Then if I just hold the left mouse button down and drag, you can see that actually the video and the sound is still there. So the cut has actually cut and then hidden the bit in the middle. It hasn't actually deleted it. It's still there. And that's a soft cut. So that's letter K. So now I'm going to introduce a hard cut. So arbitrarily I'm going to choose that. I'm going to do Shift and K. It gives me a hard cut. And I'll delete those sections. Now if I grab my two handles again and I drag those to the right, just notice two things immediately has happened. One is the sound hasn't moved at all because there isn't any sound for it to copy. The other one is that the video strip, instead of being this pale blue, is now a darker blue colour. And if I drag my head across, you can see nothing actually happened. The cursor isn't moving anything. The dark blue is signifying that the last frame has just been copied across. So that's not what we wanted. So that's a hard cut. Hard cuts are rarely used. They have their uses sometimes, but clearly not at the moment. So I want to go, I'm going to recut this at the beginning of this strip. So if I do page down, that will jump the end there. I can recut this strip because I don't want it and delete it. Now I want to close this gap from these ones to these ones. The easiest way is just to hit the backspace key and it will close that gap straight for me. Now alternatively, if I just drag these out of the way again, if I want to drag to where the playhead is, and I've got these two selected, I'm going to do Shift and S for snap, and that will snap the strip to the current playhead. If I have my playhead, for example, so it's overlapping this bit, and I do Shift and snap, you see the Blender has taken those strips and moved them up a channel. So these are the channels. So this one's currently on channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4. Now if I'm to play, let's move those a little bit more actually, I think. I'm going to move those across a bit more. Right, now if I'm going to play this, see what happens. So you can hit the play button. I've got mine set as Shift play or Shift spacebar, or yours might be spacebar. On location and rotation, set it to 25 or what. So I don't know if you noticed. First off, it's showing this video clip here. Then when I get to here, it's showing this video clip. It's not showing this one. However, when I got to the sound section, it was actually playing both of them together. So remember on the channels, it's the topmost channel's the one that's will be displayed on the video, and all the sounds on that playhead will be displayed. Now, later on in the series, we'll actually do fades, so we can fade from one to the other, but it's important to remember it's a top-down priority list. Okay, so that's our little video so far. We have learnt how to do some keyboard shortcuts. Next bit is I actually want to render this out. This is the panel up here. I'll show you how to render settings. So it's currently set to 1920 and 1080. We're not distorting it by stretching it in any direction. It's going to start at frame 1 and end at frame 1498. Actually, that is not what we want. So let's go to the end frame again and we'll do playback, set end frame. There we go. 1366. Frame rate is set at 29.97 frames per second. It's going to output it to temp file. You can change that if you wanted to. I'm going to change mine to this video captures file. I'll accept that. At the moment, it's going to output a single picture for each and every frame as a PNG file. I want to create a movie. So the 3 movie options, 2 AV ones, which create very large files, and an FM MPEG video format, which is the one I'm going to choose. And with that selected, it's given me this encoding drop-down list. And I can either choose H.264 to Matoska, or H.264 to MP4, or the other ones if you want, but that's one of the 2 most common ones. And that's populated most of this encoding section for me. So there's the FM MPEG I chose, MPEG 4, H.264 is the codecs, medium quality, I could change that to high, encoding speed and frame interval I would leave as they are. At the moment it's not going to generate any sound, so if we click on that, we can choose a sound. I would choose AAC or MP3. MP3 will do. And if I want to render this little video clip out, I'm going to click render and render animation. Now it's a bit of an illogical term, but that's because Blender is actually a 3D animation package, so that's the option we choose. And it'll take a long time to do this. The video sequence editor is replete with keyboard shortcuts. However, most are either not very useful or can be quickly reached with the right mouse button click. The following are the ones I find most useful, either because I use them constantly and or they're tucked away. Most we've already covered. Frame all will actually put everything in the view. Jump to the beginning, jump to the end is page up and page down. If you've got a number pad on your keyboard, then go to the playhead, there's a number pad 0, and frame select, or I just view the selected frame as number pad period. Moving strips, we'd snap to the playhead with Shift S. Remove the gaps is backspace. Select everything isn't Control A as you'd expect, it's actually A, it doesn't matter it's up or lowercase. If you want to limit the movement to the Y axis, it's G followed by Y, likewise case doesn't matter. And we've used the cut and hard cut a lot already, and delete is delete, you can use X. We haven't met preview range or set up a marker yet, but we will in the next tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed and learned something from this introductory tutorial on the VSE. If you have, then please support this channel by clicking like and subscribe. Keep in touch and I hope to see you soon.